Okay, so in this video I'm going to be demonstrating creating a transceiver, and this will be something like a handheld radio that you would get at the electronics store, or if it's a handheld ham radio like a 2-meter rig or a 2-meter unit, those kind of things. You can use any of the ham radio frequencies. You could also, you could be a CB or something like that. In this case, I'm not too worried about the bandwidth and the frequency. We're just going to use the defaults here. It also has a flashlight for transmitting Morse code. It'll transmit over radio, but it'll also flash a flashlight at the same time. This is kind of just to demo that you can do that. For the receiver, this is just a very simple receiver. It's just going to play back some audio, whatever it receives over the radio. Okay, so let's play the scene. Okay, so you can hear the Morse code is coming out there. You can see the flashlight. Also, if I turn its volume up here, you'll be able to hear. I can push to talk, so you can hear my voice coming out of it. Okay. Alright, so let me show you how to create that. So let's move our flashlight out. Okay, I'm going to delete these guys here. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll just create a camera to act as the player. And we'll put that guy 0, 1, -1. And we'll go ahead and add the flashlight back to it. Make sure it's at the right place. Okay, it is. Make sure it's in front of us here. Yeah. Okay. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and set it up. So you could drag like the radio component onto it, and then you could do the Morse code emitter because you wanted to be able to add that functionality. In this case, I can just put that on there first, and then tell it I want to do radio. Now it will actually add all the radio, audio source, all that stuff for me. So I didn't have to go through the process of adding those manually. I'm going to use a light. And then I need to drag my flashlight onto it, and my neighbor's motorcycle. Okay, so we got that set up. Now this emitter color, this will work for a light or a material. If you have it set to material, then the game object that the script is attached to, it will change its material color, its primary material color, to whatever this color is, and then back to its original. So whenever it triggers Morse, it will change that color. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. And actually, let's go ahead and turn its volume down a little bit so we don't blast our eardrums out. And then we have our max effective range is set to 100. And you can change that range by a handle. And this effective range, it affects the calculation that does the fall off. So in the Pro version, the receiver's audio source will get a high pass filter applied to it. And that filter is based on where it is in the radius, in the distance from this object, as the distance from the object, as well as what the maximum output is, or the maximum effective range is. Sorry. So in this case, we want to go ahead and set that back to 100, and then we'll create. So that's it for there, but we want to be able to do like the push to transmit Morse. So we'll go ahead and add that, and we want to be able to do push to talk. So we can go ahead and add the input manager. And for these scripts, these are out-of-the-box solutions that I provide for you. These use Unity's default input manager. So you would just give whatever name you want these to be, and in a fresh project, you would just go to Project Settings, Input, and then define those values there. So whatever the name value is, that's what's going to be in the property here. These are all these values are changed via events, so you can use whatever input manager you want. You don't have to use my scripts. If you have a third-party one that you like, just capture the input and then invoke the correct event from the radio or the Morse transmitter script, and you're good to go. Okay, so we can now transmit Morse, but there's nothing to receive it, and we can try push to talk, but there's nothing to get the message. So let's go ahead and create a receiver. So we'll just put a little cube out there, and let's go ahead and 0.5, and let's go ahead and put it off at 3. Okay. So it's sitting a little ways off from us there. So for this one, we just want a receiver. So we can just drag a radio component onto it, disable the transmitter, and we're locked in on the 160 meter band, 1.8 megahertz. So we're good to go. And it already added and configured our audio source for us. I'm going to leave that open so I can show you some stuff in a second here. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and play the scene. Okay, so we can hear the static clip. When there's nothing being broadcast on a channel, you just hear static. If, however, I transmit Morse, you can hear the Morse. And if I do push to talk, now you can hear voice coming out of it. And that is all coming out of this object here. So if I moved it off to the side, you would hear it coming out. So like if I move that off to the side, you can hear the audio shift over to the right. So now the voice is coming out of the right side of the speaker. Okay, so we've got that. And that's pretty much it. So I said I was going to mention a little bit about the fall off as well. So for this guy, if you set that effective range to a really small value, like say I put that at like 10, that'll change the tone. So it's a different tone. It applies a high pass filter to it, and usually in the game that would change live. So as you move further away from a transmitter, then that high pass filter changes based on that distance. Also, if you change your frequency from the mid-band, from the middle of that band, so if you actually are on 1.8 and you start tuning closer and closer to 2, it'll start to do a fall off as well. It'll apply that filter to it and change the tone. So you can kind of see that in this. So if I actually can click on it correctly, so if I actually bring this in too small, it'll be outside of the range of that object. So when you go to try to listen, you can't hear it anymore because it's too far away. So if I drag it back out, so now you can hear, so you get a fall off there. So at any rate, that's it. Everything is drag and drop, point and click. The hardest thing you might have to do is configure these. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.